On December 1st, 2022, just south of Plant City in Hillsborough County, there was a hit. There was a Florida panther hit by a car. Now officially, Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, or FWC for short, does not recognize breeding ranges north of the Caloosahatchee River. For all intents and purposes, we're just going to say north of Lake Okeechobee. On April 18th, 2022, this cat was spotted in the middle of a Lakeland neighborhood. On March 17th, 2022 in Valrico, about 5 miles away from that dead cat just a few minutes ago, we have a video of a cat hopping a fence here. On November 3rd, 2022 near Parrish, there was this cat that was underneath a feeder. And there are many, many more instances like this of cats seen on people's properties, pictures on Ring doorbell cameras. Like that's how frequently it's happening, is like that these instances keep on popping up. I started hearing about this when I followed the page on Facebook, the Panthers of South Florida, and I didn't realize how many sightings there were and how many unofficial sightings there are, and that there really is a problem, and it extends to more than just panthers here in Florida. To sum it all up, there are many panther sightings north of Lake Okeechobee, like continuous sightings. And the only thing that FWC comes out with is that they're just roaming males. The frequency of this happening, and with a few females also found north of Lake Okeechobee, you start to wonder, why is FWC not actually recognizing these sightings, or a lot of them? I have a theory, and it is just a theory, but my thought process is that it's because they are considered endangered species. And what does endangered species have to do with not recognizing that their range is extending north? Well, in 1973, the Endangered Species Act was enacted to protect not only the species, but the lands on which the species relied on. Sum it all up, if an endangered animal lives on a specific type of land or plot of land, that land needs to be protected as long as the animal is on it. As an example, we have gopher tortoises all over the state, and we have development going on like crazy here in Florida. Legally, you are not allowed to physically touch a gopher tortoise at all unless you have the permits and you go through a bunch of hoops to make sure that the government knows that you have gopher tortoises on your land. And if they're on there, there is no developing. So you're supposed to remove the tortoise and put it into another habitat which is suitable for it before you can do any development. But, and I know the people who are on here who might watch this know this to be true, there are developers that just don't care about this and develop straight over gopher tortoise land or pretend like they're not there. This is something that is well known and is something that has been well established for a long time. Developers come in, there's gopher tortoises on it, and they just get paved right over. And it's happening all over the state. When it comes to the panthers, there are only an estimated, at least on FWC's website, it claims 120 to about 230 left in the wild. And when something is protected for an endangered species, as I said before with the gopher tortoises, you cannot use it for commercial purposes unless those purposes are for educational purposes, like you put in a museum or something on there. You can do stuff like that, but you cannot build, you can't put homes out there. You can't put a tourist attraction. There are rules that dictate what this land can be for, and it is to keep as pristine as possible for these protected animals. A female panther's range is about 70 miles. Males, upwards of 200 miles. They roam. You're not going to keep 230 adult cats in a 77,000 acre range. They're going to go places. That's what they do. And the thought that in a 70-mile range you're going to have all of the female panthers is just ridiculous. But the FWC admits this. They have to federally protect that land that they are established to be breeding in. And when that happens, commercial progress out the window for wherever that is. They have to keep certain areas federally protected, and more and more and more of it, especially when they're on Tampa's back door. But Florida currently has a problem, We have a huge population boom. COVID did not help us at all with that. FWC does not want to admit that the panther's home range is extending north and is extending into areas that are going to be used to put new subdivisions in, putting your homes into where the panthers are trying to live. This problem is a Florida problem in general. We've done a good job in a lot of circumstances of saving certain iconic species and bringing them back from the brink, and now animals like the manatees have made such a comeback that they're not even considered endangered anymore. When it comes to protecting our natural habitats, protection of those habitats kind of goes out the window when it comes to urban development. And that's something that Florida really needs to get better on. This also extends out to animals like, as I said before, gopher tortoises, indigo snakes, pine snakes. You protect the animal, but you don't protect the land. And the animal isn't going to survive if it doesn't have the land to live on. I love Florida and I want it to stay wild, because there's not many places like this in the world. In fact, there's no place like Florida in the world, and I want to keep it that way. It ain't paradise to put up a parking lot. I really do appreciate you guys watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and keep it wild.